All right, so this is the Charleston Chewies that I was telling you about. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do, I've got everything laid out that is in this recipe. This is, I use the Land O'Lakes salted butter. So right now I've got 2 sticks in the pot. Because we're going to actually melt all of this. So the recipe calls for 2 cups of brown sugar. Brown sugar, you want to make sure that you press it down. It has to be packed. I know it doesn't say that on the paper, but brown sugar is packed. So just pack it really good, mash it down, dump it in there. That's 1. It doesn't 1 cup. It doesn't matter if this is light brown sugar or dark brown sugar, but you want to make sure that it is packed really good. Just like so. So there's 1, 2. And then the last thing that we're going to put in here to put it in the oven, on the stovetop to melt, is the 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And we're not going to bring this to a rolling boil. We just want it all to melt. So there's the 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So I'm going to set this on the back burner, turn it on low, and just let it melt while I'll get everything else together. Okay, so while that's coming to melt on the stovetop, the next thing you need to do is 2 cups of self-rising flour. It doesn't matter what kind, brand, just make sure it's self-rising. So this is 1 cup. So when you're doing your flour, you can either dip it or however you want to do it. But I just kind of dip it in there and then take something and level it off. You need 2 of these. So there's 1. Again, make sure it's level. Sometimes there's air pockets in there and it's not really too full, or it's not a full cup. So you're going to just lay that to the side. So while we're waiting on this, I've just stirred it. You can use a spoon, anything. It's not boiling. Can you see in there? It's not boiling. It's just melting like it's supposed to. So while that is just melting, I'm going to go ahead and I like to use this. You can dice up your pecans with a cutting board if you want. I prefer this right here because some of my family likes them really diced up. So just a few pulses of this. Really, the pecan amount, the recipe calls for 1 cup. If you want to do 1.5 cups, if you want bigger chunks, that's really left up to you. This should be about 1 cup. And if you see, there's all different sizes, but the majority of it is really fine. So we're just going to put that to the side. This is completely melted, no boil. We just want to make sure that the butter has melted, the sugar has, everything has come together beautifully. All right, so we're going to move it over here. It's going to be transferred into this bowl. Some sugar particles in there. Now what we're going to do is put the eggs. You see I have 2 eggs. You've got to be really careful. I'm stirring this, trying to just kind of cool it down just a little bit. When we add these eggs, if it's too hot, it's going to try to cook the eggs. So we don't want to do that. We just want to try to give this some air, give it just, cool it down just a little bit. And as you are stirring this, that's when you're going to add these eggs. And you want to whisk it kind of quickly so that it'll incorporate in there. And again, it's not cooking it. Okay, so that's how that happened. Everything looks great. So now this is the flour. We've measured it. It's 2 cups. And so as we're going to stir this, we're just slowly adding a little bit at a time. It can get kind of messy and want to go everywhere, but that's okay. But just kind of keep stirring around. I find using the whisk, the wire whisk, is a lot easier to deal with. And as you can see, it's working pretty well. Go ahead and add the rest. Make sure you get down to the bottom of this bowl. When you go down to the bottom, make sure that you've got all the flour from off the bottom. Sometimes it tends to stick down at the very bottom. So you just want to keep kind of circling. Everything looks great. Everything is mixed in. I know it tastes delicious. All right. So the last thing is our pecans. Here they are. And this tells me that I have put right out a cup. So I'm going to dump those in there. Just kind of stir them around, fold them in, get them everywhere. The oven has been preheated. Whenever I pulled everything out of the refrigerator and cabinets, I went ahead and turned the oven on. It's on 350, so it's been preheating while I've got everything ready. So this is stirred up. This is how it's supposed to look. Okay, this is a 9 by 13, so I'm just going to use just regular vegetable oil non-stick spray. It's don't have to be a name brand. So you just want to really spray this good. I tend to use it over my sink because I don't want it all over my bar. But you just want to get a really good coating on there. And then you want to get everything in there. Try to, as you pour it, go from one side to the other of the pan. This is the Charleston Chewies. There's so many different names of these, but they're delicious. Doesn't matter what the name of it is. Okay, just want to kind of level everything out. Okay, this is going to go into the oven at 350, middle rack. We're going to set the timer for at least 35 minutes. And then we're going to test it. Okay, it's been at least 35 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead, pull them out. And we're going to check them. Just set them here. Let them cool for just a little bit. I have a toothpick. What I like to do is just try to stick it in. It comes out clear. Just a couple of spots. I try to do it where I know that I'm going to be cutting in the lines. So it's good. Okay, when these come out of the oven, one thing I like to do is just kind of go around and loosen them here from the sides. Just tapping them very easily. This is a plastic, just a regular plastic knife. I cut them while they're hot, and it just pretty much slices right through it. I don't claim to be a professional cook, but this is how my family likes it, and this is why I do it this way. There's one more step. I'll let these cool for just a few minutes while they're just cooling here on this right here cookie rack. I'm going to put a piece of saran wrap over them. But again, this has got to cool down. That saran wrap is going to help the top of this to become really soft, because if you just leave it out and air it like this, it'll get a hard top. Some people like that. But for the ones that, the way I do it is I'll let the pan, this right here, glass, cool down just a little bit, and then I'll cover it with the saran wrap. And as you can see, it's kind of already got a hard top. So just slice them, you know, ever how big. But again, the plastic knife, it cuts right through it. You don't have to worry about it pulling up anything up and making a mess, as you can see. Okay, so I've had the saran wrap over it, cooled off, and I'm just going to show you. Here's a corner piece. Just grab a fork, that's what I use. And voila. This is the Charleston Chewie, or Chewy, however you want to call it, and it is delicious.